Summary of the Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. Isabel Archer, a young woman from Albany, New York, who is self-reliant and inquisitive, finds herself in the English countryside as a result of an invitation extended by her maternal aunt, Mrs. Touchett. Isabel's uncle Mr. Touchett and her cousin Ralph are happy to see her at Garden Court, the Touchett family home, even though they have never met their American relative. When Isabel emerges in their doorway like a ghost, they are both struck by how beautiful and nice she is right away. Mr. Touchett and Ralph are both sick because they are old and drink too much. The handsome Lord Warburton, who lives next door to the Touchetts, is also there for the first meeting and is just as enchanted by Isabel. Isabel is thankful for the Touchetts' kindness and charmed by their quiet but beautiful country life while she stays at Garden Court for 4 months. She spends time with her uncle and cousin every day. Even though they are sick, her new ideas and energy make them very happy. Isabel's aunt still likes her, but she stays away from the family and spends most of her time alone in her rooms, as is her habit. Mr. and Mrs. Touchett have been married for a long time by living in different countries most of the time. During her time at Garden Court, Isabel also spends time with Lord Warburton. He gives her a tour of Lockleigh, his nearby castle, so she can see the buildings and fields. He also tells her about his 2 sisters. Isabel is shocked when Warburton suddenly asks her to marry him. She politely declines his offer, and she feels better knowing that he is a good person because he keeps coming to the Garden Court in the same friendly and gentlemanly way. Henrietta Stackpole, an American journalist, moves into Garden Court and changes it even more. Isabel looks up to Stackpole because of her successful work and freedom. For her daily column, Henrietta is writing about how people live in Europe. Ralph goes to London with Isabel and Henrietta to check out the city's social life. Even though Isabel loves her friend, Henrietta's honest and sometimes rude behavior bothers some English society's most important people. Isabel says no to yet another marriage proposal while she is in London. As their relationship grows, the rich and charming American investor Caspar Goodwood has followed her to England to pursue it. Like Warburton, Isabel likes Goodwood, maybe even more, but she can't picture herself marrying him. She is afraid that if she marries either guy, she will have to give up some of her personal freedoms. Right now, Isabel wants to go on exciting trips all over Europe without having to worry about other people. Like Warburton, she tells Goodwood that she wants to be completely independent and that she wouldn't make a good wife. Madame Merle, an American who used to live abroad and is an old friend of Mrs. Touchett's, comes to Garden Court and becomes fast friends with Isabel. Mr. Touchett's health gets worse during this time. Ralph is interested in his cousin Isabel and wants to give her the freedom she wants, so he talks his father into leaving Isabel a big chunk of his will. When Mr. Touchett dies, Isabel is both sad and shocked by how much money she has suddenly become able to spend. She comes to accept her uncle's kind gift and promises to use the money to make the world a better place. Ralph wants to get rich so that Isabel can be independent, but Henrietta and Mrs. Touchett tell Isabel about the risks and responsibilities that come with being rich. Isabel starts her trip through Europe and stops in different places in England, France, and Italy. In Florence, Madame Merle sets Isabel up with Gilbert Osmond, another American living abroad. Isabel is interested in Osmond, an older guy, because he has traveled a lot, likes art, and lives a non-conforming life. Spend time with each other. Isabel doesn't know that Osmond and Madame Merle are working together to take advantage of Isabel and her newfound wealth for Osmond. After 4 months, Osmond asks Isabel to marry him. Even though Isabel's family and friends don't trust Osmond, she agrees to marry him because she thinks that supporting his artistic endeavors will be a good thing. Even though she is usually very perceptive, she can't see that he has major character flaws. Going back in time 2 years, Isabel and Osmond are living in Rome and are having a bad time with their marriage. Isabel doesn't feel like she is a real partner with Osmond, she just sees her as another piece of art in his collection. It has come to her attention that Osmond is dishonest, selfish, and bossy. But Isabel has grown to love Pansy, Osmond's daughter. Pansy is smart but shy, and she does everything her dad says. Edward Rosier is a young art buyer who falls in love with Pansy. He is friends with Isabelle from childhood. Isabelle is completely in favor of the relationship, but Osmond is against Rosier's courtship because the young art collector doesn't have much money or job possibilities. That's why Osmond wants Pansy to marry Lord Warburton instead. The English nobleman is interested in the young woman. Isabelle thinks Warburton might be interested in Pansy just to be close to her because he may still love her. Isabelle finds out that Ralph's health has gotten very bad and that he is very close to dying. She really wants to go to Garden Court to be with him, but Osmond won't let her. Isabelle also finds out that Pansy is the child of an affair between Osmond and Madame Merle. This is a secret Pansy has kept all her life. Isabelle starts to feel sorry for Merle, her old friend, because she is living an evil and lonely life. Pansy asks Isabelle to come back to Rome before she leaves for England because she loves her stepmother so much. Isabelle goes without asking Osmond to. At Garden Court, Isabelle sees Ralph again and caresses him until he dies. She is so sad about his death. Goodwood goes to see her at Garden Court and tells her again how much he loves her and strongly urges them to run away together. The next day, when he goes to find her, she's already left the house. Henrietta suggests Isabelle is back in England with her husband.
About the author. Henry James was born in New York City in 1843 into a rich family. When James was young, his family lived in London, Paris, and Geneva, among other places. When he was an adult, James left the United States to live in France and England for 20 years. Because he had lived on both sides of the Atlantic, he often wrote about Americans living in Europe and Europeans living in the United States. James started out writing simple and direct texts. Then he focused on dramas and short stories. Later, he moved on to a new phase of his work and wrote long, complicated novels. He spent a lot of time watching how people behaved, even though he was socially awkward and never got married or made many close friends. He became a British citizen in 1915 and was given the British Order of Merit the next year for his service in World War I. James died in 1916.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.